Hey there, Neal DiPentino here with Business Breakthroughs. Thank you for joining the show today. I'm super excited about our guest today. He is a military veteran. He's also one of the co-founders of Business Leaders Quick Reaction Force. He's the co-founder and CEO of that company. Here's Mitchell Kieffer. Mitchell, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Neal.
You know, it's like I said, how do you say your last name? And I got it right the first time, and then I went and I just
you stumbled over it.
But
yeah, all over it. Remember that Kieffer Sutherland, you know.
That's right, absolutely. But he has one F, you have two. I remember that part. So.
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah. Hey.
Big memory.
Well, yeah. Okay.
There's a lot of ways to respond to that. I know.
Yeah.
Especially for a guy that had traumatic brain injury too. So I get you.
Gotcha, buddy. Hey, so really glad you could be with you. I love having you on the show because, you know, we have a lot of people who work with executives at businesses and everything. We've had some people who work with middle management, business owners, you know, corporations, that type of thing. But I think you're probably the first one that we've ever had on the show that kind of works the financial part of the business and helping people with that. And we're going to get into that a little bit. And I want you to tell us a little bit about your business and what you do for your clients, that type of thing. But before we do, you know, let's take a few minutes and just kind of get to know you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. A little elevator pitch. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school and wanted to play football in college. And it was at a private school. So my dad said, you know, you can go to a state college and you know, not have a bunch of debt getting out, or you can go to the school you want to and play football and drive a beater the rest of your life. And I didn't like that idea, so I went to the school that I wanted to play football, but also found Air Force ROTC, won a scholarship, one of 3 of us out of 50 that got full rides, and then I rode out of there in a convertible too. So I said, there you go, Dad.
Nice.
I did the opposite. Yeah. But I started off with the Air Force, and I was a mathematician, engineer type. I had a mathematics major in college, and then I wanted to go special operations as either jumping out of the planes to rescue people or on the front lines, like as a special tactics officer. I had to wait to get my eyesight surgery because you have to be pilot eye qualified to be able to do those jobs too. So I volunteered to go downrange with the Army and give one of those guys a break, since, you know, they were going 3-4 times before I was even getting the chance to do my part. 5 out of 6 months working for the Army Corps of Engineers, had over 140 missions under my belt. We were the only ones on the road because it was Operation New Dawn in Iraq back in 2011. So combat troops were out. We were there rebuilding the city, you know, building schools, hospitals, tank facilities, stuff like that. But this, you know, 5 months in, there was a one way in, one way out sort of place that's usually pretty hot. That we take helos to get there, or else we take big MRAPs, the big mine-resistant vehicles. There were no helos that day. There were no MRAPs that day. They were in the shop, so we were stuck with lightly armored SUVs that can basically take just a 7.62 round, you know, like an AK round. And one way in, one way out. They set us up coming on our way back in the evening. The other crazy thing is that we were on weather hold. And twice, even when we drove up to the gate, you know, 4 hours later after the first weather hold, twice we were going to call it. And at the last minute, they said, nope, we're going, you know, weather holds off. So it was just one of those days. You just felt like it wasn't right, but the boss needed to get out there and see it. So we had 4 vehicles that went. Coming back, the first vehicle got hit by a conventional IED. The second vehicle had RPG shot at it. Those would blow the heck out of those vehicles, but they aimed too low and it actually bounced off the ditch and up and over. A piece of the cone got stuck in that vehicle but didn't detonate. Then there was our vehicle, the third vehicle, got an explosively formed penetrating IED. So one of those copper forming slugs. So it went through our vehicle about 2 feet in front of my forehead and through the other side. Knocked me unconscious, scrunched me in my seatbelt, so like fractured 10 vertebrae at the time. I woke up to RPGs flying right behind our vehicle, barely missing us, hitting houses on the other side of the road. More RPGs, then about 15 guys with AKs trying to finish us off. So we had 3 busted vehicles out of 4. And I woke up and everybody was doing their job. You know, luckily, I was in La La Land. I'll tell you that. I just laid on top of my boss because he was next to me, and I was just trying to protect him. But we were able to get up the road about a quarter mile to the next checkpoint, set up a perimeter, change run flat tires, and had a 2.5-hour drive back to base in those vehicles. And,
oh my gosh.
You know, our QRF, our quick reaction force, that's supposed to, you know, help us in the kill zone, met us at the gate 2.5 hours later. Oh, wow. So that's really where our name, Business Leaders, QRF, or quick reaction force, kind of comes from. Is we want to be that QRF for business leaders. We want to get things done quickly, done right, and not have to make them wait 2.5 hours and hellfire to you know, get that help. So I luckily had a slot for AFIT, Air Force Institute of Technology, to get a master's in operations research and data science. So I did that after that, even though I had a traumatic brain injury. 7-hour assignments came down to 5, 4, 3, and then like an hour and a half by the end of that time frame, just doing mental workouts every day. But it was tough as nails to do and go through, but I still held a A- average and got prestigious awards, stuff like that. Medically retired after that as a captain in 03 in the Air Force, and then started working for SOCOM and SOCCENT, Special Operations Command for the Central Region or Middle East, and almost got blown up in Lebanon again when ISIS killed 42 people in the market. 2 out of 3 suicide bombers were successful. The third one next to us was not. So that was when I started doing, I started realizing this cat has only 9 lives. So I've got to shift my focus more to like an MBA, and then working as a chief data scientist, still within DoD and doing contracting and stuff of that nature. And then got contacted by Tim Brown, famous wide receiver, the Oakland Raiders, you know, Hall of Famer, Heisman Trophy winner from Notre Dame. And he had contacted both Shane and I as part of his Stars Helping Heroes campaign. And we were basically like the first ones for them to try us out, to help mentor us, get us part of their network of celebrities to help us out with different things. So that's where our business has grown from and into.
Wow.
So long story.
A long story, but a really incredible story. And thank you so much for your service. We certainly appreciate that. And, so obviously you've been through a lot. You've learned a lot through that time, and now you're giving back. And I was looking at your bio. I really like what you guys are doing. A lot of us start businesses, and we think about, the marketing, we think about, the product that we're going to sell. We think about a lot of things that go into running a business. But then when it comes to financing that business, maybe we just either don't think about it so much, or maybe we just don't have the knowledge to be able to, to do it, or maybe do it the right way. And that's where you guys really come in. I was looking at your LinkedIn profile, and one of the things that kind of caught my eye is that you guys have a 7-step process to help people build credit around their EIN as opposed to their personal finances. So that way they don't have to put out like a personal guarantee and that type of thing. Can you tell us a little bit about that program and what that looks like?
Yeah. So, I mean, the 7-step process, I can get with people on Zoom to go through that entire thing, but to give you the gist of it, like you said, a lot of it is that just people don't know how. So we start by bootstrapping the business based on our own revenue or our own funds. And that's how we think we'd go about doing it. And the way it is right now, Main Street is really, you go in, you ask for a SBA loan, and often you're getting denied, and they won't have to tell you why. But there's things that we know why. And it's really because they're looking at you, the business owner, as the business. And if you're not willing to put out your personal guarantee and affect your own credit score and everything, they won't even look at you because you haven't built a business credit foundation yet. So it's backwards, because Main Street and Wall Street were completely different. It's, Wall Street, you don't have any CEOs personally signing for anything. So everything is built around the business. So if you do end up getting in trouble with cash flow, which 80% of companies do, cash flow and credit, then, they get it, and they know the underwriting and they have this business credit foundation that allows them to purchase based on that. And it gets them 10 times as much, as well as greater access to that. So 90% of folks don't even know that capabilities exist for Main Street to do the same thing. I've even known some bankers that have not known some of this stuff. So it's not even just that they don't want to tell you. It's just, it's not very well known to people. So the fact that you can basically do the same thing, you can build a business credit profile, put things on your EIN number. So then you're not putting up collateral like your house, your finances, you know, putting your family at risk. You're not having to get lowballed on loan amounts or else denied. We have 500, 700 vendors that we work with that we know will report to the business credit bureaus. And that's the other problem with this, is that only 7% of vendors usually report to the business credit bureaus. And they're separate business and personal credit bureaus. So we all know the personal ones. And I'm sure if I asked you, you'd know your FICO score. But how many people, how many business owners can we say, do you know your business credit score?
Right.
You know, the hands go down. And there's Dun & Bradstreet, Business Equifax, and Business Experian. And they all have their own scores themselves. It's a 0 to 100 scale instead of like 0 to 850. And they have a recommended credit limit. And most new businesses are going to start off in a very low number, like you know, in the 20s or out of 100, and with a recommended credit limit of $1,000. And they could be a $2 million, $5 million revenue business. So what are you going to do with, you know, a credit limit of $1,000 when obviously you've got a whole lot more to that you need to grow and scale your business? So that's really where it comes into play, that 7-step process we take you through that ends up, by the end of 1 year, we have a guarantee that we get you an 80 credit score. And I'll go over one of our success stories. It's one of many, 43,000 that we have already.
43,000 success stories? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So this is not new to us, even though it's a new business and everything, but it's not new to us because it's done the same way every time. We tailor it to each business. So it is like a specific credit analyst that works with you every time. And it's based on the business's needs, what they're into, and what their goals are. So we ensure there's a business plan set up, and then we take them through that credit building process, which usually, I can tell you straight up, can be done on your own. But what we've done to minimize, usually that will take you 3 to 5 years to figure it out and to get to where you want to be. And I've done that on my own, for my own business, a personal training business I used to have. And when I found, you know, partners to work with that have perfected this, that we work with, that's when it just made complete sense, because it can be done within 9 to 12 months, and they put that guarantee there. So we don't have to worry about doing all that extra research on the time, because as an owner, you want to work on the business, not so much in the business. And so a lot of the stuff is taken care of for you in that whole process. So when you're applying for things, like we're doing it for you, we're monitoring the credit to make sure that the vendors that you're using are reporting back to those credit bureaus to make sure that the scores are getting higher throughout that whole process. So that's why they can, knowing the underwriters, knowing what it takes, and taking the proper steps is what cuts it down from 3 to 5 years to basically 9 to 12 months.
That's incredible. So I think, you know, most businesses generally, a lot of people, when they get started, they bootstrap, like you were saying, underfunded. But a lot of times, even as you get going into business and everything, you might find yourself kind of cash strapped at some point in time. You really don't know what to do. And that's what really could kill a business. It stymies your growth. It as a leader, it deals with you mentally too, because now all of a sudden it's like, I can't grow because I got to pay the bills today. And it just becomes just this, like, sometimes can turn into a downward spiral. I mean, have you seen that kind of thing happen?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, 30% of businesses die out within the first year. 50% make it to 5 years, and about 20% make it to 10 years. And 80% of the time, of those numbers, 80% of the time that the businesses weren't able to stay open was because of access to credit and capital. So it's absolutely important. And we offer also, like, for that case of needing cash now, if you're a government contractor, say, and you've got bids that you have to put out, or I mean, even construction, the trucking, you have bids, or long accounts receivables where you've got a lot of cash out there that isn't getting repaid to you in enough time for you to continue to scale, grow, everything like that. Then we have those quick options that, with building or with getting cash quickly when the banks usually say no. So we have those options as well.
So you have quite a few. I was looking at your website. You have quite a few options that you make available to business owners. Explain to me and our audience, what would a typical client of yours look like? I mean, what kind of businesses do you normally work with?
So for Shane, my president and co-founder, and I, we were both 100% disabled, and we love to help service disabled, veteran-owned small businesses, as well as any veteran-owned small business. Like, that's who we target, but we help everyone. We just have a certain thing in our heart for helping veterans. So we want to be, for all the companies out there, though, that finance agency that you can go to that you can trust. You're not going to get any sales pitching and omitting of information just to get a bigger sale or something like that. We have full integrity, honesty, and transparency, and we're going to be that way the whole way through. So it's a relationship that we like to build. So not just for creating referrals and whatnot, but also because the people we work with, I think they deserve it, whether they're veterans or not. I think they need access to these capabilities that just aren't well known out there. And so a lot of it is just informing them. But industries, we take them all sizes. They can bring in 150K revenue up to, we've got 50 million K revenue. Wow. And it's crazy because some of the credit reports that we pull, they're like 10 million in revenue, and they've got the credit limit recommendation based on their business credit at 10K. Oh, wow. And it's backwards, and there's just relatively simple things that we can do within that, 9 to 12 month time frame that can really just turn everything around. As well as, so we have a couple programs too. That's talking just about getting to where we want to get you. We will get you to a score of 80 out of 100, which is like a 720 out of 850 for a FICO score. So by the end of that time, we guarantee that 80 score. So you're going to be able to be a lot better place to get those bank loans, the SBA stuff, anything else. So you don't need to help keep doing the quick cash option, because that should be, a last resort sort of thing. Sure. So you're building a foundation for the future. And when investors are looking at this too, like Tim Brown and his celebrity investors, if they're going to want to invest in something, if they were going to look at two companies, say at the end of their lifespan, so even those companies that are looking to exit, say you got one trucking company that has 10 million revenue, another trucking company that has 10 million revenue. If one of them has 4 million of business credit limit available and a high score versus the other one, which didn't pay attention to that, who do you think they're going to go with? Right. Yeah. It makes it real simple that way. So we have a lifetime program, and that also includes a lot of other accoutrement, I would say, like cash flow mapping, that can really help you understand what's coming in, what's going out, when it's going out, to help that planning aspect of it, so you don't get tied in knots. We have business valuations that we provide every year that are usually $7,000, but you get one every year, so you can see a trend in growth along that way, as well as if it's time to get investors or to exit the company, you've got that available for you. It's like a Kelly Blue Book for your company. You get access to lawyers, CFOs, other financial personnel as well every month. So that's there's a lot more things we can do with our lifetime, and that's the lifetime of the LLC or incorporation. It's not just, you know, we get you to a certain place and say, see you later. We're going to continue until that LLC is, you know, Dunsky.
I like it. I like that. So it's not a one and done type situation. It's
No.
yeah, it's like it is. So, you know, we all need people like you to help us through situations like that. You know, where you're needing financial help in terms of getting loans and that type of thing. Let me ask you this question, because you mentioned, and I'm terrible with numbers, I apologize, but I think you said that you had one client who's like $150 million in revenue, but there were only credit was available was like $10,000. I think you said, I think is what you said.
Yeah, 50 million and 10,000.
50 million. Okay.
Yeah.
What do they do to put themselves in that kind of position? How does a company get themselves in that situation where they just don't understand? Yeah, they just don't understand that business credit is out there. Like I said, if someone asks them their business credit score, they may not even know, because what they've been doing has been the same for 30 years, which is using their personal guarantee and using their own personal credit to get funding, or bootstrapping and using the revenue. But, you know, if you keep doing that, you're not going to be able to grow and scale as quickly as you'd like to. You're not going to have that extra cash to have for consulting services that, you know, other things that may be needed, or, you know, whether COVID stuff happens again, or, you know, you can keep a lot of that. Like Walmart, you know, what they buy based on their business credit, their Bounty paper towels, and then we come in as consumers, buy it, and then once they get our money, then they pay it right back to the business credit. And so they don't put up any money for it, and they just keep pocketing, you know, and building their bank account. And that's really the way it should be. And, you know, the other great thing is that just like regular credit cards, with business credit, you can get a lot of rebates and, you know, the 3% cash back and everything. So like for me, I can use that for Christmas presents at the end of the year for all the, you know. But if you're getting, you know, big time limits for your business, it just extrapolates, and then that can compound in interest and growth and just provide you so much more opportunities. So now you're not just looking at what's your $1 million plan or your $5 million plan. You might have to put up a $25 million plan pretty soon, because you're just going to have that ability. They just, a lot of business owners don't know that this exists. Like I said, I had my own personal training company for over 20 years and didn't know until Tim really, and my MBA kind of put me into this understanding. But it's just not the way things are normally done. So it's trying to make Main Street act more like Wall Street. I like it. That's fantastic. You only know what you know, and so we don't know a lot sometimes, and so that's why you know, companies like yours and you, Mitch, that's why we need businesses like yours to help others to you know, to understand this and to, you know, have that ability to get that kind of financing, so they can continue their dream. I mean, that's nothing worse in my mind is like having a dream of creating a business and everything, only to see it go south. I mean, that just sucks. I mean, I hate that. You know, so so we're actually coming to the end of our time. I hate this because this has been a really interesting conversation. I'm learning so much. I'm taking notes. Can you give us, like, you know, like any kind of parting message, any kind of like anything you would like to leave our audience with before we go?
Well, I'm sorry I didn't get into too many examples, but, you know, just one quick one was that we started with someone with a 28 credit score, and to get them to that, in about 10 months, we were able to get them a credit score of, pardon me for 1 second, 10 months, we got them to a 96, and from 1,000 to 724,000 worth of credit.
Oh, wow. That's
so
incredible.
That allowed them to do, and again, without using their personal guarantee. So they don't, that's the biggest thing that I like to leave with people, is to understand that the best part about this is not using personal guarantees, not using your own, you know, it doubles your ability to get credit, because you have your personal, and you don't have to trash it though with the business. You can have them separated, and it gives you so much more flexibility to do in your business, as well as to feel less or minimize your risk at home and with your family. So you're not always bootstrapping, wondering, going day by day, working in the business. Again, it lets you do a lot more on the business. Right. And that's where, get to a point where you wanted to get to, get that dream and exit the company, and we help you out with getting investors there, and you've built the company up to a point where it's incredibly financially sound, and yeah, the dreams are achieved. So we also provide other services. Like, I'm a data scientist, so there's tons of things with business opportunities for data science out there and AI. So that's just a separate thing that we do. Talent management. Shane used to be a recruiter for Delta Force, so he's big time into getting the right talent, keeping the right talent if you're having troubles in that area. And we have different things that we do for that, even some boot camp sort of things.
Nice.
But, yeah, I just like to get the information out there to people so that they know it and they can research it, and obviously let us know if we can help them in any way.
Fantastic.
I would like to see that the numbers for failing businesses go down a lot. And if we can figure out that cash flow and credit issue, that being 80% of the problems, then we do that. And then we make our market and economy so much better. So many more happy people in this world. And that helps me feel good at night,
Absolutely. Yeah, we need more happy people in us.
Yeah, you got to feel like you're contributing to something good in life. And I could have gone as a chief data scientist and continue to work in that realm, but I didn't want to just be working on some widget that didn't really mean much to me. This way I can still help people, and really feel a contribution, just like I felt in the military. Something that's powerful and that is really changing people's lives. Right. And that's what we get all the time. So I mean, it's great to live vicariously through everyone else achieving their goals. It's almost better than us achieving our own goals, really.
I like that. Yeah,
that's what I get off on. Yeah,
that's great. Fantastic. So if our audience wants to get in contact with you to find out more about your business and how you can help them, how they go about doing that?
So our company website is businessleadersqrf.com. And my email itself, you can send me straight an email. It's just Mitchell, my first name, at businessleadersqrf.com. So Fantastic. That's the easiest way. I've got calendars up there that they can schedule time with me, and we can do a Zoom. And I'd like to just learn about their business first and see where we can help. I'm sure we can find a fit somewhere, but if there's not a fit, then we can also end the Zoom call right then and there too. So all right. We're not here to, to try to snake bite anybody. We're here to help. We're here to just help everyone out get to where they want to be and enlighten them to the things that they may not, they don't know, bring them to the point where they know they don't know, and then they know. So that's our biggest mission. Yep.
There you go. Hey, I got to tell you, you've been a great guest. We've learned a lot. You've given us a lot of information. I know there's a lot of information that you would like to get out there. It's hard to do it in a short show like this, but they can contact you. You will talk with them, and you'll have a conversation that would help them to make a decision whether or not your business is right for them. And from what you're telling me, it sounds like everybody should at least give you a shout and give you a try. So I appreciate Mitchell being on the show. And I'm sorry Shane couldn't be here. We'll have to catch him at another time. But that is our show for today. Thank you all for being with us. Business Breakthroughs is sponsored by Titan Media Works. Check us out at titanmediaworks.com. That's Works, WORX. And check out all of our great hosts on the Small Business Delivered Network at smallbusinessdelivered.com. Until next time, thank you for joining us. Have a great day.